One of Beyonce's most famous statements is, she said, I don't like to gamble, but if there's one thing I'm willing to bet on, it's myself. And that statement alone lets me know, and I hope you too, that you have to be willing to bet on yourself. You have to have confidence in you and in your ability to achieve whatever it is that you go after. Anyone can teach you something. It does not matter who they are. It does not matter if they're rich, if they're poor, if they're famous, if they're not, if they're a bum on the street and they're giving you wisdom, then I believe you should listen to them. I'm not saying just listen to any old advice, but when something resonates with your soul, then you know it's the right thing. That something can be a bulletin board on the highway as you're driving down the road, but when you hear something that resonates with you deep down on the inside, then you owe it to yourself to listen. And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about lessons that my 12-year-old son taught me. And he's not 12 anymore, but he was 12 years old at the time when he began to teach me these lessons. And one of the first things he taught me was to dream big. Dream big. Stop settling for small things. Dream big. You can do it. So I'll never forget, we were coming home and I was opening my front door and my son says, Mom, and I said, what? He said, what have you done with all those books you wrote? What have you done with all that stuff that you used to do? He said, you're very creative, you're very talented, but what have you done with any of those things that you have? And I stopped and I thought about it and I said, you know what? He's right. I haven't done anything. And so I was trying to explain to him about us being from Mississippi, about us not having a lot of resources, and we just didn't have the connections at the time I felt like that would propel me to where I wanted to be. He says, Mama, that's just an excuse. And I will never forget those words. And from that moment on, I got myself up and I began to try to figure out ways to get me to where I wanted to be. I knew I wanted to be a writer. I knew I wanted to start my own business. And after he said that, I said, well, we're going full in. We're going to write these books. We're going to publish these books. I'm going to find a way to publish them. And it's just like the universe opened up and said, ta-da! And I was looking at, I'll never forget, I was watching the Crazy Coupon Lady at the time. Well, I wasn't really watching her. I was reading her stuff because I discovered her through Extreme Couponing, which was a television show that used to come on. And I loved it because I was watching these people purchase all these things for a minimum amount of money. And I was like, okay, this is something I really, really want to do. And then through that, I discovered her and I submitted an article to the Crazy Coupon Lady and she took it. And that was my signal to, hey, you can do this. This is okay. And I made what I thought was a really, really good amount of money off of one little article that I sent in. And I was like, girl, if you can do this, you can do anything that you want. It's time to make this work for you. And the next thing my son taught me was, he said, take the steps necessary to make those dreams a reality. Pursue those dreams with your whole heart. Don't just say, hey, I'm tired when I get off my first job while I'm trying to build my empires. I love to tell my sister all the time, I'm building my empire. And we're building our empires. And we want to become great people, but we can't do it if we're not putting in the effort and we're not putting in the time. Do whatever it takes to make those dreams a reality. Another lesson that I learned from my son was to speak life. Speak life into those dreams. I would ask him, I said, boy, what you doing? He said, Mom, I'm in here making my millions. I'm in here doing this. I'm in here doing that. And I was like, okay. And so I realized now that I should have been giving him more encouragement than I was. But he was speaking life into those dreams, into those goals that he had. And he went after them with his whole heart. And I learned that I need to go after them with my whole heart. And it goes back to the biblical principle of life and death being in the power of the tongue. We have what we say. You know, in the secular world here, we call them affirmations. Whatever you say over and over and over again, that's what you're speaking into existence. That's what you're giving life. That's what you're causing to come forth. Affirm your dreams. Don't just say, this is my dream. I want it to happen. I hope things work out. No, speak it. Believe it with absolute conviction that you're going to get just what you need, just what you asked for. So speak life into your dreams. This I also learned from my son. Become that person, become that girl, become that woman, become that entrepreneur, become that store owner. And don't just wait till it's a reality, but become him or her now. Some people call it faking it till you make it. Whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to do, however you want to do it, you become that person. Don't wait for it to happen. Don't wait for the break to come. Begin to become who you want to be. That means in your mind, you are that person. That means dressing the way you think that person would dress. That means acting the way you think that person would act. That means doing the things you think that person would do. So one of my dreams and goals is to become a successful YouTuber. So that means me doing what a successful YouTuber would do. So I can't just lay in the bed and say, oh, I'm sleeping, oh, I'm tired. It means I got to get my butt and make those videos. That means I got to do these podcasts. I've got to do what it takes to become a successful YouTuber. I have to do what it takes to become a successful teacher. That means I have to go to those workshops I don't want to go to. That means I have to take those classes I don't want to take. It means doing whatever it is to get to where you want to go. And since I want to become a famous YouTuber, I know that famous YouTubers make good money. I know I want to make 6 figures and more. So what would a person that makes 6 figures and more do? That person would be up. That person would be working. That person would be going into those expensive stores. They would be able to buy what they wanted to buy. They would have that financial freedom. So I told myself, I said, listen, chick, you've got to act like you already have it. So that means going and looking at that jewelry that I usually wouldn't look at. I used to say, well, you know, you can't afford that. There's no need in looking at it. And I said, no, you go look at it. You look at that jewelry because you are going to be able to afford that jewelry. You go look at that car. Go look at that expensive car, your dream car. Look at it. If you have to go down to the dealer, sit in the car, ride in the car, go do whatever a person that is the person that you want to become would do. So we have to stop telling ourselves that we can't have it, we can't do it. Yes, you can. As my 12-year-old son told me, and he's now 28, but he told me this when he was 12 years old. Mama, you got to do something with what you have. And so I'm telling you today, do something with what you have. Don't just keep sitting there dreaming. Don't keep sitting there wishing for pie in the sky or something to happen to change your circumstances. You change them yourself right now. I thank you guys for listening. This has been LaWanda Shields with 2Q Sister. And I'll see you guys in the next podcast.